Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from worldwide. I'm Sterling. It's great to have you back on the channel. This show is being recorded on Saturday, December 21st, 2024. It will be posted live to the channel on December 22nd, 2024. As always, these shows are provided for entertainment purposes only. All the information I share with you comes real time through my angels, guides, extended spiritual counsel, ETs, famous people from history, so for entertainment purposes only. Also, if you just take a moment to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, all those things really help the channel. They're free. And for those who need to reach me, we get asked all the time. You can go to sterlingpsychicmedium.com, look for the book a session tab. I think there are dates available now in April, May, and June of 2025. Also, if you'd like to participate in our live member streams, we have a platinum membership. We do live streams, we answer all kinds of questions on Fridays, 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific time zone. And you can find the join button for our platinum membership on the homepage of the YouTube channel, Sterling Psychic Medium, or the website, sterlingpsychicmedium.com. So great to everybody here. We're happy holidays, everybody. No matter what you're celebrating worldwide, happy holidays. A lot of holidays coming up, a lot of holidays ongoing. And whenever you have a wonderful time, family, friends, and whoever you want to be with, whoever's in your love group, so to speak. So happy holidays to everybody. Just a quick little housekeeping item before you start the show here. People always ask where the questions come from. They come from our community board. We put out requests on Mondays on our YouTube community board tab. I think again there were like 400 to 500 questions again this week. My wife does go through them, screens them down to kind of an amount that we can cover here on the broadcast. I think there are 66 questions today, and that's how we get the questions every week. So people are always asking where they come from. One other couple areas of housekeeping I want to go through. Somebody brought to our attention, whenever we do readings on these shows, right, we answer questions and then they become realized in the press and the world media. We put out what are called hot off the presses on the community board. So there was one related to last week that somebody brought to our attention, the Canadian postal strike, the prediction by my angels and guides was that the government was going to force them back to work, which they have done. But I also still see there's some sort of a meeting of the minds and something that's going to work out well in January of 2025. Will there be a meeting of the minds? The parties will come together, the postal workers and the government. The other quick item, we put out a hot off the press today on Saturday regarding Malaysia Flight 370. And in fact, 4 years ago, my team had predicted that in this time frame we're in now, 2024, 2025, there'd be kind of a resurgence in the search for Malaysia Flight MH370 in the Indian Ocean, and they would be looking in an area that was more north of where they were. That's actually where the aircraft went down. So we did put a hot off the press. There's a new Texas-based firm that's going to be searching for Malaysia Flight 370. The name of the firm I noted here, Ocean Infinity, based out of Texas. And it's what they call a no find, no fee search. So the Malaysian government has actually authorized it, but unless the aircraft is located, Ocean Infinity doesn't receive any financial compensation, but they will find it. I guarantee it. So, a couple quick housekeeping items here before we start off the show. So, without any further delay, let's get going on today's show. So, question 66. Hello, Sterling. Why was fencing being put up around the White House in November of 2024? And why were Kamala Harris and President Biden seen returning there December 20th of 2024 from scheduled weekend vacations elsewhere? Is something big taking place? Well, first off, it's a safeguard for the White House. I think that fencing went up around the election time, November 4th, but they were called back due to two key things I see from my team. One is the election interference, ongoing investigation that's coming up here, as well as a concern over the budget crisis that was going on. Like it would look like a failure to pass the budget, which has since been passed. But I saw two areas of why they were called back. And so this is ongoing. They're taking care of business. 65 in the countdown. Hello, Sterling. Fani Willis was removed from the election interference RICO case in Georgia. Will she remain on the case through the appeals process, or will someone else take over? 45 will not get this case canceled and will he still see justice? Yeah, so I do see that this case is going to receive a new prosecutor, but Fonnie Willis, like my team has always predicted, is going to stay connected very closely to the case to provide a handoff, guide the information. So there's still kind of an interaction here with Fonnie Willis, but there'll be a new prosecutor assigned and kind of a new staff around that prosecutor. So the team is the case is not going to be thrown out; it will continue forward. 64 in the countdown. Hello, Sterling. Will the USA ever have a safe voting method? Yes, but it's like within approximately 5 years' time. Could be a little faster, maybe 4 years, but there'll be new blockchain technology, what they call distributor ledger technology, put behind all the voting infrastructure of voting machines. And that's going to create a very redundant auditing system for voting machines. So, got another 4 or 5 years here, unfortunately, before all this gets put into place. In the meantime, it's going to be a lot of grassroots fighting by a lot of political groups, federal government to maintain safety and accuracy of the elections. 63, hi Sterling and team. What future awaits Syrian women in Syria? Are their rights in danger? In the short term, in the next 3 to 4 years, it's going to be a challenge for Syrian women. But within that 3 to 4 year time frame, I do see a big uprising for Syrian women for their rights. I remember I always see and saw that Syria would become more democratic, much more of a world player. We're starting to see that now, but it's going to take a few years here of, let's say, lag then for Syrian women's rights to come. But they will come. But they're showing me, my team's showing about a 3 to 4 year lag here. 62. Hello, Sterling. Will MSN outlets and media individuals who flipped and went to go meet with 45 be shunned after the truth is revealed? Well, in fact, already some of this is occurring right now. So it's like the inability of some news agencies to kind of stay, I'm going to call it the mainstream, report the facts, as opposed to looking like maybe they're pushing to one side or the other. So some of this, let's say, shunning is already starting to take place here because a lot of these channels are succumbing to the wills of advertisers. So yeah, a lot of this is already taking place, will continue to take place until this starts to level out in the media, and the media gets much closer to reporting like just the facts. 61. Do soul contracts end when one of the people dies? No, but I believe you may be referring, whoever asked this question, to life path blueprints. So you always come down here to fulfill your life path blueprint. If someone you're engaged with, so to speak, within your life stream is a part of, let's say, your blueprint, when they leave, they've completed their blueprint, you're still continuing yours. So I think the question, do soul contracts end when the person dies? No, the angelic teams don't refer to as soul contracts, but they refer to as life path blueprints, which came down here and agreed to. And so when one person leaves again here to be repetitive, they've completed their blueprint, you're still continuing on with yours. So it's really all about what you decided to come down here and learn as a life lessons, even though people in your unique soul family may be coming in or coming out of your soul group here on Earth. 60. Hi, Sterling and team. Is the new nuclear fusion plant announced to be built in Virginia dangerous? Will it be built? I believe 100% it'll be built. My team, Angels and Guides, have been talking about the coming here of new nuclear fusion technology, right? And eventually, it's going to evolve to cold fusion. We've got a decade or more to get out to cold fusion. But yes, this plant in Virginia will be built. It is safe. It's all part of new coming clean energy as we move away from nuclear fission, which is like the dividing of atoms, right? And fusion is the energy gets released when you combine atoms. So it's the opposite. 59. Hello, Sterling. I'd love an update on King Charles' health. I'm not a doctor, but unfortunately, I still see some precarious health problems that he's dealing with and will be dealing with. And it looks like, some health difficulties over the next 12 to 24 months here. So some type, I'm going to wish him all the best and love and light to the family, but some precarious health problems he's really going to have to be on top of and stay on top of here. 58, Sterling and team. Was the murder of the United Healthcare CEO a one-off event, or are other big business managers and owners now at greater risk? So this was a bit of an isolated instance, right? The killing of the United Healthcare CEO. However, what it has done, and it kind of in a meaningful way here, is now increased level of security around all CEOs worldwide and all business leaders. So it's created a ripple effect. But the fact that this one United Healthcare CEO was murdered, it was a horrendous crime. I don't see a lot of other CEOs being, killed, but definitely increased ramped up security, and it really kind of changed the paradigm of a lot of the world's CEOs will be moving around through life with larger security teams. 57, Hi Sterling and team. Recently, I saw heartbreaking images of deceased North Korean soldiers on the Russian front lines, men being sent to war without proper training and equipment because of the whims of some dictators. When will Kim Jong-un and his government be deposed? When will the North Korean people stop suffering? Unfortunately, I don't see any major changes in the dictatorship style of North Korea for about 2 decades. That puts you up around 2044, right? Now, Kim Jong-un will not be a dictator for that long. It'll be years to go here before there'll be a transition to another dictator. But as far as North Korean dictatorship and unfortunately suffering North Korean people, there's about 2 decades here before that starts to change. And that's all contained within the 3 decade reset that my team always talks about, the year 2020 to 2050. All these are parts of events that are going to happen during this 3 decade reset. 56 in the countdown. Hello, Sterling. I would truly like to better understand how spiritually aware extraterrestrials are, interact, or interface with what you often refer to as the angelic realms. Do beings from other parts of the universe also have their own birth, life, and guardian angels? Does the advanced technology which allows some ET species to travel the cosmos lead them to be more aware of angels and guides who exist as energy rather than that form, have an enlightened or benevolent perspective that guides them to make benevolent choices? So, a lot in this question. So, first off, yes, I mean, all extraterrestrial species, all the ones I communicate with, are far advanced, having been around the universe millions and millions of years. So, but by virtue of that, they learned how to transition between multiple dimensions, including the heaven dimension. So, in that respect, they're more connected. They can interact with angelic beings, people from history. That's all very true. And they go through, there are actually thousands of dimensions they cross around. One of the ways they move around the universe is through what they call wormholes or black holes. That's all very true. But actually, when they interact with angels, they look like full-scale apparitions. I think maybe they refer to in the question here being just forms of energy. Actually, when you see angels, when you actually meet them on the other side, you'll see, oh, they look like full-scale apparitions, like people. You'll see them. So yeah, this is all owing to millions of years of evolution for all extraterrestrial species. So all that's true. Yeah. And I think the last question was, do they have angels and guides themselves? They do. They do have spiritual guide teams, each of them that helps guide them through their life and their destiny. They have life path, blueprints, just like we do, just like humanity has Homo sapiens sapiens. 55, hello, Sterling and team. The Canadian economy is closely linked to the US economy, but for some reason, the Canadian economy is very low. This could be from the resignation of our finance minister, Chrystia Freeland, over a 45 US tariff dispute with Trudeau. Whatever the cause is for a slow Canadian economy, do you see the Canadian economy bouncing back soon? You know what? I do. But I say this is on like a very moderate trajectory. So what my team always tells me is the Canadian economy lags the US economy by 1 to 2 years. So it looks like as we get into 2024, I'm sorry, 2025, 2026, there's at least like a 2 to 3% increase in Canadian GDP, at least a 2 to 3% reduction like in unemployment. I think the Canadian economy right now is running just a little over $2 trillion, like 2.2 trillion or something. But I do see gradual increases here. So it's over the next, 2 years, you're going to start to see it creep back, but it's actually lagging behind the U.S. economy. So I don't know. I think also the Bank of Canada is going to reduce their rates very shortly here in 2025. So good signs, be patient, lagging the US economy, but again, it looks like it's going to increase here by two, even maybe 2 to 3%, 2 to 3% increase in GDP, and maybe a 2 to 3% decrease in unemployment, and also good indicators. 54, hello, Sterling and team. The GOP is floating having Elon Musk be the next Speaker of the House. Do you and your guide see this happening? No, I actually see it. There'll be another GOP leader. They'll be installed as the Speaker of the House. It does not look like to me, what they're showing me now, that it's not going to be Elon Musk. For some reason, Elon doesn't want to be tied down. So it looks like that would tie him down more than he wants to. He wants to have the ability to move around the world and do the things he wants to do. 53, hi Sterling and team. I live in north central Arizona and we have not had any significant rainfall since August of 2024. I know you have said we would be in a drought for a 5 year period, but that was a few years ago. What do you see for the rainfall in coming months and years? So this is going to be a difficult period continuing here for Arizona for another about 2 years. That kind of brings us in that 5 year cycle that my team was talking about, because this prediction came up 3 years ago, something like that. But by the time you get to the end of that 24-month period, another 2 years here, looks like rainfall will start to get back to normal. So this is actually indicative of the drought problem that's even going around the world, right? Climate change affects everything worldwide. 52, high Sterling and team. Will the SEC be successful in their case against Elon Musk? Well, success, yeah, I do see fines coming out for Elon Musk. I think this had to do, if I'm remembering now, my team's talking about this with the Twitter transaction. When he was getting ready to purchase Twitter, that he didn't disclose he owned 5 to 10% of Twitter stock. So I do see fines coming out for him, no jail time, but yeah, his Elon's legal team's going to fight this, but it does appear that there's going to be some fines coming through. So in that way, the SEC will be successful. 51 in the countdown. Hello, Sterling and team. From previous videos, it sounds like 45 may come into office briefly. If that's the case, could he prevent information coming out about election interference and manipulation? No, 45 will not be able to stop the information coming out from the federal government and from a number of other intelligence agencies, that's actually going to get released worldwide. And it actually won't be just the US that release information. It'll be other NATO countries that actually release information as to what happened of election interference around the world, including the US. So in that respect, from this question, no, 45 will not be able to stop that. 50, hello, Sterling. Two Russian oil tankers broke apart, spilling tons of oil in a bad storm. Were these oil tankers sabotaged prior to the storm breaking them into two? Sounds non-plausible that two oil tankers would all of a sudden break in two. I get no, this is actually due to major storm conditions, poor maintenance on ships. Yeah, it looks like this is actually kind of call under the category of like a natural disaster, major storms, maybe somewhat coincidental that two oil tankers, but they both look like they succumbed to major storm damage and very poor maintenance on these ships for some reason. Might have been some problem with the structure of the ships inherently before the storm was even there. I don't see sabotage. 49, hello, Sterling and team. Is the talk of all these tariffs by 45 just another big grift from the administration 45? No, well, not necessarily grift, but I see it as it's a leveraging instrument to try to get other types of requests or asks from the government. So I don't see this as a grift, but the motive behind it is to try to get leverage off of upcoming deals and trade negotiations. By the way, it's already been proven worldwide and through a lot of very important economists that the whole approach to major tariffs is a terrible idea. It really adversely affects the economy, and the buying capability of a lot of consumers. So yeah, this is not a grift, but it's just a leveraging instrument. 48 in the countdown. Hello, Sterling and team. I was wondering if you could see what NATO's Secretary General Mark Rutte is planning on bringing forth in the next 2 weeks. I see he's like neck deep in getting more support for Ukraine from NATO countries. So you both directly and indirectly, more long-range missiles and weapons. And so look at working behind the scenes, really bolstering the support for Ukraine. That's what looks like he's spending a lot of time on right now, along with election interference issues going on. So you're going to see a lot of this come out. 47. Hi, Sterling and team. 45 was talking about getting rid of the FDIC, right, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation in banks. What will happen to our money? Will they take it and say we don't know what happened to it since it is not insured? No, I don't see this actually going away. It looks like this is going to backfire by people proposing at like 45 it will backfire. Remember, this FDIC was created like during the Great Depression to restore people's confidence in banks. No, I don't see the FDIC going away, no, and it will backfire. 46, hello, Sterling. Will 45 pardon all the January 6th insurrectionists if the timeline shifts and becomes part-time president in 2025? Well, he's going to try to pardon at least half of the January 6 rioters, but for some reason, it does not look like it goes through to completion. So, right, because of all the election interference we're talking about and the shifting that's going on here around the White House, it does not look like it ever comes to fruition, okay? 45 in the countdown. Dear Sterling and team, what will become of JD Vance once the news becomes public? Will he turn on 45 and testify against him? No, I don't see JD Vance turning against 45 because he always believes he needs him in his corner, in his pocket to leverage other things around the world or what he hopes will be his eventual run for president. No, for some reason, they're showing me he's actually going to stay aligned, almost stay in his shadow, not turn against him, not throw him under the bus. JD is going to try to stay in the good graces of 45. 44 on the countdown. Hello, Sterling and team. Will Bashar al-Assad and his wife, Asma, be brought to justice for such atrocities they led in Syria? I don't see them being brought to justice, but I do see them hiding out in the world and until their deaths and passing. And for al-Assad, it looks like it's going to be fairly short term. So that's like 1 to 2 years here. So I don't see, worldwide world court type Hague justice or courts coming after them. They may have a discussion about that, but it looks like it will not play out that way. 43 in the countdown. Hello, Sterling. I've seen some psychics on YouTube call on light workers as they are needed during this difficult time. Can you please explain again how to become a light worker and how they know they are on the right track? So, light worker is associated with a teacher healer life path. There are 12 different life path purposes. Teacher and healer are two of them. I always tell people you can replace the word light worker with love worker. That means you're out there doing whatever you can to push love forward in the world. Remember, only two energies in the universe and the world, love and fear. Love is all about potential, being your best, moving people forward, helping. So, if you're a real light worker per se, that's a teacher healer life path. There are types of, let's say, love workers that might be on creator innovator life paths. They're trying to inspire people. But if you talk about light worker or a love worker, very specific to teacher healer life path. Okay, so hope that helps. 42. Hi, Sterling. Last show you indicated 45 would leave the U.S. under the pretense of attending a business trip in Saudi Arabia, like a leave golf tournament or other venture. Interesting enough, there's a Leave Golf tournament in the Middle East in 2025 in Riyadh in February 6th through the 8th of 2025. Do you see 45 leaving at that time? It does appear he's going to have several international trips, and they'll be under the guise of business. At some point, he won't come back because of the threat of other legal issues happening. So yeah, I mean, I read on this 4 or 5 years ago, and I saw eventually 45 would eventually go to the Middle East and at some point not come back. So I can't say it's this specific, say, Leave Golf event, but I did always see it was related somehow to the Leave Golf organization. Okay. 41. Hello, Sterling. Nigel Richards just won the Spanish World Scrabble Tournament after learning the language for a year just so he could enter. He did this after doing the same with the French World Scrabble Championship. Nigel is on the spectrum. What is it about high functioning autistic brains, formerly known as Asperger's syndrome, that makes it specialize in certain areas? Are they more advanced beings in some way? No, not more advanced beings, but it means that their intellectual capability is concentrated in a certain area. I'm not a doctor, so what my team's telling me. So, you can think about it in some respects. If you think, let's say you fill a jar with sand, and sand represents all your neurological knowledge. If you tilt the jar to one side, now see all the sand is on one side, you've moved kind of all the neurological capabilities into one area of the brain, or one area, if you will. So it's more of a concentrated focus, the way you come down here. Not that they're more advanced, it's just the way the neurons and neurological functions are concentrated in a specific area. That's what my team's telling me, not a doctor. 40. Dear Sterling and team, should 45 actually make it through inauguration, have its team put in place, how will we have any power to prove voter fraud once 45 has control of the government? So this information will be revealed by the Central Intelligence Agencies, and there are actually going to be federal guidelines that come into place here. So not to worry, this is all going to play out here, but I do see actually, remember, intelligence agencies worldwide and NATO. All of this is a worldwide problem, not just with the U.S. election, but other elections here. It's all going to come out on a broader stage, and it will affect change, even here in the U.S. 39. Good day, Sterling. The Canadian government is going through a political crisis. Our Deputy Finance Minister, Chrystia Freeland, has suddenly resigned in the face of Trudeau problems and conflicts. Will Justin Trudeau step down? It is just a matter of time, unfortunately, before Trudeau steps down. And there is another, what I see is like a far right kind of a candidate, more radicalized, like we're going through here in the US and other parts of the world. Like another far right type of a candidate coming to replace him. But it's a matter of time here before Trudeau steps down. 38. Hello, Sterling. Were any of our founding fathers psychic or intuitive? Did they have any help from extraterrestrials? So yes, many of them were highly intuitive, means you're tuned into the other side. You can talk to angels and guides, extraterrestrials. And although a lot of the angels and guides, as they didn't write the text of, let's say, Constitution, they were guided, much the way musicians or creative people are inspired to write books or music. That inspiration came. They were highly intuitive. They were tuned in, yes. So there were angelic beings and even individuals from the Galactic Federation weighing in to help. 37. Hello, Sterling. Do you see Canadian politician and former Premier of BC, Christy Clark, becoming the next Prime Minister of Canada? No, I do see her running, but I don't see her winning for Prime Minister of Canada. 36. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas is highly unpopular in Texas, but he keeps winning re-election. Has he cheated in some way? And if so, will it ever come to light? Yes, he has benefited from the same, for entertainment purposes only, the same election interference techniques and technology disruption that's affected a lot of worldwide elections, okay? And it will be revealed. Okay, 35 in the countdown. Hello, Sterling. When pets pass on, how long is it before they cross over? Do they stick around for a while? My little guy passed on November 20th, and I swore I felt him and heard his unique barks. So, all entities, humans, animals, pets, pass on immediately, but they can also communicate immediately. So, there isn't a lag there. So, as soon as, remember, and animals are part of the angelic realm, they aren't angels, but they come down with unconditional love. As soon as they cross over, they can communicate, they can be around you, okay? There's no delay there. 34. Dear Sterling and team, Burlington, Vermont's environment has changed a great deal. People are moving there from other places, and the city is experiencing a great deal of homelessness and drug addiction and usage. Do you see this turning around anytime soon? It will turn around, but not like until the next presidential cycles. That puts you out 2028, 2029. So a number of 3, 4 years here it's going to take for kind of that to kind of reconcile and get better for the leaders of the city, municipalities to get on top of that. 33 in the countdown. Hi, Sterling and beautiful team. Will government retirees' retirement accounts be adversely affected in 2025, either by decisions of the government or the market in general? Understanding you do not give financial advice, can your team foresee any positive or detrimental elements to this group, that is, federal retirees as a whole? Um, it appears that things are going to be somewhat normal. So it looks like the federal government will move ahead and remove some forms of no, actually, pension benefits and federal benefits look like they're maintained pretty much the same. I think there's going to be discussions going on here in Congress as to how to calculate. I always see that all the time is like recalculating things, but once they recalculate, it comes out to the same level. So I don't see any I'll see major upward adjustments in, let's say, federal pensions and that kind of a thing. But it looks like they're going to kind of maintain the same. Okay, so maybe not overly positive, but it's not gonna decrease. But then again, no real change for a number of years here. 32. Hello, Sterling and team. What do you see happening with contraceptives, IVF, and abortion in the new administration? Will they ban it all? Well, they're going to try to ban it all, but there's going to be some very key states like California that will maintain full access to this. So while it won't be convenient if you're living, let's say, across the country, there'll be some states that will 100% maintain access to all these medical procedures, if you will, and assistance with medications. Okay. 31. Hello, Sterling. My dog lays on her bed at the end of my bed. A few nights ago, when I got up to let her outside, there was a glowing yellow ball of light on her back. I'd say it was maybe just a little larger than a silver dollar. We keep our bedroom very dark at night. I looked at the window to see if moonlight was coming in, but there wasn't. The curtains were closed tight. When she got off her bed to follow me to go outside, the yellow ball of light stayed on her back. Then suddenly it was gone. I think I was very lucid at the time. What was that? That was healing energy coming in for your dog. This is her dog, right? Yeah. Healing energy coming from the dog from her angelic team. So maybe something going on there where she needed that extra bit of healing help. Now, you would know better than I. There's something going on there because I'm seeing it. There's a healing that was going on there. And you actually are a bit what they call clairvoyant, right? So you can see those kind of things. Not everybody can see them. But that's a wonderful way that angels and guides step in for all living entities to help. She's fine now, by the way. 30. Hello, Sterling. Why do psychics predict several psychic scenarios for one event? It feels like we're all being gaslighted. Not sure about other psychics, but my angels and guides read from the Akashic records. So, for many world events, although time can speed up or slow down, that's that kind of free will aspect, that like the end result is the end result. And I always talk about the Akashic records kind of symbology like a slinky. If you remember the slinky toy, the toy is all connected. So, every spring element leads to the next, but the spring can expand or contract. So that kind of speeds up or slows down the pace at which certain milestones happen. So I can't speak for other psychics, but the teams that I deal with read from the Akashic records. 29. Hello, Sterling. Will humans be able to do what we need to do to reverse climate change before it's too late? Yes, but it's a good 10-year period here before this is really going to start to turn the ship around. A lot of good things are happening, and we're going to see the introduction of free energy, complete free energy, by the year 2050. Now, free energy, that's not an economic term, that's a quantum physics term. Free energy is discussed in terms of energy, extra energy that gets released from a reaction that didn't have to go into the reaction to create it. That's a physics concept of free energy. So there will be clean, free energy, certainly by the year 2050. take 10 years for us to kind of start to turn the ship around to climate change. But the boat, we haven't reached a point of no return yet. Humanity is actually going to do what it needs to do. 28, as part of the DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy have released a plan to terminate veterans' health care and cut pensions. Will they succeed at making those cuts? In the short term, they're going to try to reduce some kind of a benefit by 1% to 2%, but long term, there's no big ramification here. I do not see that there'll be any kind of a bad monetary effect on veterans, and they're talking about veterans' health care and pensions. I think we talked about this earlier in the show. A lot of recalculation going on behind the scenes. People think that they can recalculate a different way, but when they get to the end result, the net amount that people are receiving is going to be about the same. Again, don't see any big backward momentum on the pensions and Social Security, but not a lot of huge upward momentum for a couple of years. So kind of same. All right. 27, Hi Sterling and Company. 2 years ago, I was sleeping, and right before waking up, I heard a woman's voice saying, Marga, my head hurts. My mother had been having head problems. So I went to her room and saw she was moving in bed. I asked her if she was okay, and she said the same exact words. What happened? Who did I hear? You were hearing your mother in an astral travel state. Your mother was astral traveling, uh, connected with you. That can happen. It happens a lot of times with like patients that are in comas, for example, or comatose states. They hear their loved one talking. It's a great example of when a loved one's in an astral travel state. They're connecting with you in a way you don't know. 26, hello Sterling. When will humanity join the Galactic Federation? What benefits will come from it? So this has already started to take place behind the scenes, but it won't be officially known about joining the Galactic Federation for probably, in terms of humanity, several decades. And you're going to understand what the Galactic Federation is all about. But in order for, let's say, practically for a lot of nations, a lot of the world's countries and nations to join and be an active part, it's going to take a couple of decades. The benefits that come from it are what I call world order, world peace. So it's an understanding of the threats that are around the world and galaxies and the universe, how to work collectively, cooperatively, collaboratively to bring about greater change and world peace. Those are the benefits of being involved in the Galactic Federation. And for the U.S., for the world, to say for Earth, got about 2 decades to go here before you see a lot of interaction that what I call like governing action with the Galactic Federation. 25, good morning, Sterling and team. Are there limits to what our guides can answer? For example, what vitamins and minerals are most needed by a body at this time? So your angelic team always provides information you need. You just have to ask for it. Now, it may sound overly simplistic, but I tell people, say out loud, ask your primary angels and guides to please step forward, help guide me in the supermarket. What should I be eating? What should I be looking for? They will help guide you. That's their purpose. You have to ask for their help. But yes, there's nothing that they'll keep back from you. If you ask for their help, ask for their assistance, and create that kind of connection, they'll give you the information. They won't hold it back. 24 in the countdown. Hello, Sterling and team. We've heard a lot about the politicians that 45 wants to go after for revenge, but nothing lately about Stormy Daniels, which is Stephanie Clifford. How much danger is she in, and what is her future? Will 45 be blocked in some way from getting revenge on all these people? Well, 45 won't be blocked from taking out court cases from a number of people. So that's going to require kind of a legal hurdle. Stephanie Clifford, it looks like she does have some legal things coming up. The good news for Stephanie Clifford, to concentrate on her, is for some reason I see a mass of influence and support coming for her. So it's almost as like I'm going to say as women's rights start to swell up here, there's more money and funding and support coming for like Stephanie Clifford. I get lots of positive energy in the whole situation. However, 45 will take out a number of legal cases against a lot of people. So it's almost like people having to walk through quicksand for a while to get out of the quicksand. Okay. 23, hello, Sterling and team. Everyone has the ability to access their divine gifts and develop them. Do some families have more members that are spiritually gifted, inherent abilities than others? Yeah, it's certainly true that as you come down here, remember, you choose, it's like a punch list. You choose what skills you want to come down with. Some unique soul families say, put us in, coach. We want to have a complete divine gifts, the ability to not only, be psychics and mediums and go across the eight clairs, right? But we actually want to then use that to help other people. I do find that's more consistent with older soul families. So families that are older souls, you do see a lot of that happening. Remember, I always use the euphemism like "put me in, coach." Whenever you're an older soul and you ask to be put in, you ask to come down, you are actually expected to really deliver some results for the world. It's not just go and have a fun time, go back. So sometimes people are not so eager. But yes, some families do align themselves more to psychic, spiritual, clairvoyant gifts in order to help the world. 22, hello, Sterling and team. I was wondering if there's such a thing as bad energies in a house. My daughter's house was a rental way before she purchased it. She says she feels like someone is watching her and doesn't feel comfortable in her home. Is there such a thing as leftover negative energies left by previous people? If so, how can the home be cleared? So, I mean, just like, yes, you can leave imprints on a house. So, just for example, let's say you take this scenario where somebody house was caught on fire and you had people that had to escape the fire. That fear energy they felt will be imprinted on the house. In order to clear it, you can ask for those soul energies, just either move on or do it like aromatherapy. Saging can be very helpful, but it's there's no usually bad energy. It's like a fire. And after the fire is put out, the walls are still, let's say, charred, and you got to come in and have cleanup services for all the water damage. So that's kind of what you're doing. It's kind of an aftermath, but you actually can ask your guides and angels to step in, ask whatever residual energy there to move on. And I find saging, interestingly enough, I was called aromatherapy on steroids, but saging a house, saging people, it's very comforting. It actually does reduce the level of fear, anxiety. So I don't see anything, overly bad going on, whoever asked this question with this house, but maybe a little bit of cleanup work is expected here. So don't worry about that house. 21, dear Sterling and team, my husband has been seeing glowing holographic geometry shapes such as circular hexagons and triangular shapes. What is this? What should we do? Why is he seeing it? So this is classically an entrance to the Akashic records. So your husband has a burgeoning ability to be able to read the Akashic records. You might want to work with a professional to do that. But a lot of people, when they see these kind of geometric figures, even sacred geometry floating in the air, that's an entrance to the Akashic records. So that means he has a burgeoning ability to develop it. Nothing to worry about there. If he doesn't want to develop the ability, by the way, tell him to ask his angels and guides, put it off, leave it for some time later. 20. Hello, Sterling. Many of the policies and plans of the supposed incoming administration would require substantial investment of funds and logistical planning. Will there be significant pushback from Congress and the public to stop the use of taxpayer dollars for their more onerous plans that will have any effect? Yes, major pushback from members of Congress because this will require billions of dollars. And I think if anybody had a chance to witness the debacle that happened with all this budget approval cycle, the last 24 to 48 hours here, you'll see there'll be a lot of pushback in Congress for a lot of, wasteful use of billions of dollars. So yeah, there's going to be pushback here. So it won't be successful. 19, hello, Sterling and team. In numerology, they talk about how everyone comes into life with a life path number assigned to them. Is this a real thing? So, two significant types of life path numbers I always talk about. Numerology wise, if you take your birth date, whatever it is, and then numerology wise, reduce it down to a number. So let's say your birth date, was April 15th, 1960. I'm just going randomly here with numbers. Let's say it reduces down to 22 and a 4. Those life numbers are impactful for you. So there's some good numerology references out there. It's always helpful to say, well, what does a 22 and a 4 mean for a life path number? Give you some understanding of what you came down here to accomplish. In addition, I always find that your reincarnation number, so let's say if this is number 56 reincarnations for you, numerology that reduces down to an 11 or a 2. It's always good to then take a secondary look as to what that kind of overlay messages right now for this life as well. So I find the two are helpful. The most important is reducing your actual birth date down to numerology. But yes, there's a science behind it, and I do see a lot of correlation. It's interesting, some of the better numerology books, if you, let's say, reduce your birth date down to a number, let's say it's 22 and a 4, the better numerology books actually list, let's say, famous people in history that had the same combination of numbers or life path number. And you actually can see a lot of similarities in famous people or people from science or history, and then what you're doing in life. So, yeah, the science is real. 18, hello, Sterling. Will there be any Earth activity along the San Andreas Fault in California during 2025? Yes, several release earthquakes in the 5, 6, and 7 range occurring randomly throughout the next 12 to 24 months. Yes. 17 in the countdown. Hello, Sterling. When I was 5, I was in a remote area of Australia and a fairy flew in front of me and then telepathically communicated how I am so loved and everything will be okay. It was one of the greatest moments of my life. Was this an elemental or my birth angel? No, this was an elemental, and elementals are very regionally focused. You find them around certain regions, they're protective of regions, but they're all different types of elementals. And this particular fairy was an elemental, not part of your angelic team. 16. Hello, Sterling and team. I just saw the news of another school shooting. Do you see any chances of big changes coming soon to help prevent this from being such a regular part of our lives in America? If so, when? Sorry to tell, unfortunately, no major changes for another 5 to 10 years. It's going to take that long to get legislation on the books and enforcing things like ghost guns, assault weapons, greater areas of mental support, mental health support, that is. So we got a good 5 to 10 year run here before it's really going to start having very effective change. But a lot of areas will be covered, background checks, red flag laws. I said ghost weapons, assault weapons, mental health, good, better health care, better early warning systems across social media using artificial intelligence. All this is going to take a good 5 to 10 years to roll out here. 15, hi Sterling and team. Will there be a cure for Alzheimer's? And if yes, when do you see this happening? The year 2032 for Alzheimer's looks like big progress being made now. Some testing on mice or whatnot, but there's good progress being made around gene editing, gene splicing, CRISPR technology. 2032, it looks like there'll be vaccines available that will start to help with this. They'll be gene editing based. 14, hello Sterling. Is our higher self the same as our soul? Can you explain what our higher self is? Does it reside within us or outside us? So interesting enough, that the term higher self is never used by angels and guides. It actually is your soul DNA. It's who you are. So whenever you're communicating with your angelic team, that's your complete soul DNA of who you are communicating with them. I guess the reason a lot of angels and guides don't use the term higher self, it makes it seem like it's something outside yourself. It really is your complete soul DNA. So it really is who you are whenever you're reaching out to the angelic realm or using any one of the clairs. It's your complete soul, who you are, the complete composite of every lifetime's lessons, which is all part of your soul DNA. That's who's communicating with the other side. So they never use the term higher self. 13, dear Sterling and team, around 25 years ago, my brother and I were playing video games in his room when a small ball of white light entered in through the open window. We both thought this was a ball of lightning, which we had heard could kill you on impact. We both froze and watched it. It drifted into the room, gently bounced up and down a little, and then left out the window the way it came in. What was it? This is one of your elder family members coming around to check on you. So that can happen. It looks like it's a grandparent level just coming in to check on you. When you're young, by the way, you can see these things much more easily. I always see people, let's say children that are younger than 9 or 10 years old, you maintain, full ability to see the other side. Orbs are very easy to see. This was a very large orb from an elder family member. 12. Hello, Sterling. Do you see the newly emerging CAR NK, so that's CAR-NK technology used in cancer as a more promising technique than CAR T, that's CAR-T? So they're both very promising. They're both going to be combined with gene editing CRISPR technology. So I'm trying to remember here. So the NK and the T mean two different things here. They're talking about CAR NK. Yeah, I think the NK is the natural approach. I think it's all about T cells and cancer approaches, and then the other one, the CAR T, is more of like a highly engineered cell therapy. But they're both going to be combined here. So the question is one better than the other? Both these techniques are going to be combined with gene editing, CRISPR technology to move cancer approaches to medications forward. Again, good 8 years, 10 years here as all this starts to roll out. But I see both are going to be important combined with gene editing technologies. 11, hello, Sterling. Currently, many companies in the US are owned by mega corporations or hedge funds, and they hold monopolies on vital things like housing, goods, medical care, information, our food supply, etc. Will we ever see a swing back to small, mid-sized, or family-owned businesses? This consolidation of power is generally pretty detrimental, and this consolidation of ownership is hidden. One entity or group of investors owns multiple brands, but it isn't easy to know that and eliminates competition. Will it ever be clear to consumers who is actually benefiting from their purchases? We're not, unfortunately, not going to see a swing back to small businesses, but within just a few short years here, it's going to be very evident what major corporations own the groups of brands. You look at hotel chains or food brands or all sorts of other things. Actually, in utilities and hospitals, you're actually able to see who owns them. So consumers will be able to make smarter decisions. But unfortunately, I don't see a swing back towards much smaller businesses. The age going forward here is still going to be larger corporate conglomerates. 10. Hello, String and team. A question regarding reincarnation, the number of times one chooses to come back. Does a lower number of reincarnations mean a person is less evolved, or was that person doing something on the other side chooses to not return so many times? If so, what could they be doing? No, actually, the number of reincarnations relates directly to your evolution in the soul world in the universe. So it's like going through grades of school, grades of college. The more, more access to education, or the more levels of school, you actually become deeper in understanding of kind of the world around you. So the reincarnation number coming back, absolutely correlates directly with soul evolution. 9. Hello, Sterling and team. One Saturday this past October, I was driving around thinking about your description of Earth angels, and I wondered why I'd never seen to have any, seen to met any. Then I remembered when I was driving back from Las Vegas many years ago and saw two women and some children stranded on the side of the road that no one was helping. I instinctively pulled over immediately and used my resources to help them get on their way back to Mexico, plus giving them food for the kids. And I thought to myself and laughed, well, they probably thought I was an earth angel. That Sunday, the next day, you opened your show with an earth angel clarification, said that earth angels might even be driving on some random road from Las Vegas and help someone. I immediately had this wake up feeling, and my whole family suddenly seemed to make sense, or my whole life suddenly seemed to make sense. Is it true? Yes, in that way, you were directed by your angelic team to help them. So you provide what's called an earth angel function. Earth angel, that's part of a soul path. And a lot of earth angels, they spend a lot of time helping people randomly. So it's almost like when your whole lifetime is spent with, being there in the nick of time to save somebody, to do something. That's really an earth angel path. People can have elements of being earth angels at times, which is what you experienced here. You answered the call from your angelic team, whether you realize it or not, to help them. So you provided an earth angel function, but I don't see, like in this case, that is the primary purpose of your life path here. 8. Hello, Sterling. Will illegal immigrants in California, let's see here, immigrants in California be safe from deportation by ICE? Well, let me put it this way. No, unfortunately, if you have family members that already have legal problems or they've had some sort of directive by the courts that they must leave, it looks like there's going to be a big sweep going on, regardless of the timing of the new administration, let's say for deportations of individuals that already have incurred legal problems or court directives. So there's a lot going on with that. So I would tell everybody to be careful if you have family members that you know kind of fall into that category. I would just take precautionary steps to make sure you have kind of all the bases covered. Seven, hello, Sterling. Thank you for all you do. Do you see any progress on kidney disease? I have stage 4 kidney disease. I am hoping the solution will come for all of us soon. So great progress in the next 5 to 8 years here, they're showing me on this particular say, kidney disease. It looks like I'm going to go a step out. I don't know if this is like pig kidneys that they're using now or doing studies on pig kidneys, and that's going to lead to the longer term 5 to 8 year solution out. But there's good things happening here. In fact, my team is reinforcing that even in 2024, 2025, big strides around pig kidneys. And then that's going to move forward into kind of what's going to be a gene editing solution. Six, hi, Sterling and team. I know humans are considered social beings, but are there some humans that have it in their life path to be solitary and without any close friendships or relationships in general? Yes, in fact, this is a life condition that is part of your life path blueprint. Now, there may be some solitary life paths that people select because they want to be more introspective. Maybe they write books. Maybe they lean into meditation and then help with those techniques with other people eventually. But it is very well connect. It is connected to a life path purpose, absolutely. So there are some life paths that require solidarity for a variety of reasons because it's complementary to what you decide to accomplish down here. Five, hello Sterling. My question is, do the souls that have had thousands of lives get an earlier start than those with under 100 lives? And can we in a life path for our next life, I'm sorry, and can we in life plan for our next life in any way? Well, you can always plan. You always select what's on your life path. But yes, the question is, if you've had over thousands of reincarnations, you absolutely started out millions of years and kind of moving down that trajectory of soul reincarnation. Yeah, it has everything to do with how long ago you start out. Now, what's interesting is some souls could be younger souls, and they may have started out millions of years ago when they started to reincarnate, but then decide not to come back as frequently. So you have that kind of scenario going on there too. Four, hello Sterling. My question is, I know you've discussed the general Earth time frame for humans to reincarnate. My question is, what is the general time frame for animals, especially our pets, who are with us so briefly? Do they come back to us within this lifetime or our next lifetime? Pets, in many cases, come back much faster, within months, even years, sometimes of passing. It's all up to their connection with you and your soul family. But yeah, pets do come back much faster. Most of humanity reincarnates no faster than like 80 to 100 years. But yes, pets do come back much faster. Not always. It's interesting. A lot of times there are new soul pet energies that come into our life. It's not always the pet that we expect. I see that all the time reading, large numbers of people. Sometimes they'll think their pet that they just lost came right back to them. Many cases it's a different soul, but animals can and do come back very, very quickly, much faster than humanity, Homo sapiens sapiens. Three in the countdown. Hello, Sterling and team. A few years ago, I had a major health event, and since completing all the treatments, I feel like a slightly different person, more confident or lighter almost. Is this just because we see things differently after the sickness, or can the illness remove fears? So, all major health events are major life resets. In fact, that's why a lot of times people put major health events on their path, is that it's a time, in lack of a better way to put it, they take a step back. They're laid up for weeks or months. They have to kind of reevaluate life. They think about things. So major health events are always major life resets. And a lot of times it's for a good reason. Maybe you reduce something in life. You change the way you're doing it. You get inspired now to write books going forward. But yeah, it's all closely related. And that's why you feel differently. It is a life reset event. And number two and number one in the countdown. Always take notes before we start these shows. So I'll share them with you right now. Number two, what do you see coming up next week? New discussions replacing Speaker Johnson for Speaker of the House. There'll be a replacement coming up. New discussions coming up here. New progress in Syria, creating a stabilized government, a new government, more substantial. New peace talks relative to Israel and Gaza slash Hamas. See some progress being made there. Good progress. New student loan announcements for increased coverage for new groups of borrowers. So something going on with student loans in the background with the current administration. It's like almost broadening the scope of other borrowers. New policy changes for presidential powers. The No Kings Act pushing forward in the Supreme Court. Now, I don't know, I got this. I don't know if the Supreme Court's going to start reviewing it, but I see a big push for that. I think Schumer was behind this, if I remember correctly, Representative Schumer around the No Kings Act, and that's to kind of counteract the immunity ruling the Supreme Court had. So something about the No Kings Act being pushed forward here. Um, Increased influence and power for Elon Musk at the expense of 45, and engagement with a number of new world leaders for Elon Musk, actually moving around the world, connecting with world leaders. So a lot more of that's coming up here, kind of at the demise of 45. I'm going to tell you right now that Elon will continue to be a factor, they're telling me here, worldwide for many more years to come in a variety of areas. So it's all part of like the landscape that's going to play out here in the coming week. It's going to become more clear here as to what's going on. And number one in the countdown, do you have anything your guides want to share? Do not be afraid to speak your truth in the world whenever asked. It will make you a better person, allow others to benefit, and start a journey towards important changes in their lives. So, on that note, that completes the show that we're recording today on Saturday, the 21st of December, 2024. It will be posted live on Sunday, December 22nd, 2024. As always, you need to reach me, go to sterlingpsychicmedium.com, look for the book of session tab. Again, dates available April, May, June of 2025. If you want to join our Platinum membership and engage in live streams we do on Fridays, again, you can join our Platinum membership. Join button on the front page of the YouTube channel, Sterling Psychic Medium, as well as our website, sterlingpsychicmedium.com. Again, happy holidays to everybody out there. Hope you have a wonderful, safe holiday season. I'm going to send out a lot of goodwill. And as always, tremendous love to you and your families. Take care. I will see you all again very soon.